Alright, well, this is how I clean my saw. Okay, well first, before you clean it, you got to get it dirty. Alright, so this is a brand new Echo 370. I won it down in North Carolina, and I broke it out of the box maybe 2 weeks ago. Okay, did some light carving with it. But what I did was I surfaced this board before we started filming here. See, man, when you're looking for that texture, how it looks kind of cool. Okay, I was going for that texture, and that's you use that a lot in carving. But once you do that to that saw, all I did was surface that board, cut it off. That was it. Okay, now we're going to clean the saw. All right, start out with a saw wrench. First thing we clean is the bar and the chain. Yeah, as soon as I get the baby loose there. Now, sometimes you have to make sure your saw is unlocked, the brake is unlocked, or this won't come off. Okay? Now, we got some garbage in there. Let's start there. Alright, we got an air hose here. Safety first. Anytime you pick up this, put these on, trust. Now look in there and make sure you got it clean. Sometimes you have to take that plate off if you were doing a lot of carving. Make sure your adjustment's clean. Alright? Now we're going to clean the rest of the saw. Take off the bar and chain. Set that down. This is all filthy. Now you can tell right here's your oiler. The top of your plate. It'll do that. So what we're going to do is put your thumb over that so we ain't blowing dirt back in there. Put my thumb over there. Make sure you get back in here. A lot of times there's a check valve back in here. On the stills there is, and on the Echoes also. The check valve lets air back into your gas tank as you're sucking it out of there. Okay, pretty clean. Let's get the rest of the saw. Hit it underneath. These ports here. Air gets up in there and cleans that all out. Now this is when you're going to want to make sure your fins are clean. Sometimes you can scrape them off. Use the small little orange screwdriver. This is a raker gauge, but it has a scraper on the end of it. You can make sure that's all clean. If you're using canola oil, you got to do this twice as often. I only use canola on my dime tips. I'll explain that later. Okay, now the bar and chain. First thing we're going to start with is the chain. We're going to run our hands down the underneath them drive gears, feel for sharp edges. Okay, if you got sharp edges, something's wrong. There shouldn't be there. Second thing, now that haven't felt good. Now, another tool that I have, pretty cool to handy to carry with you, and I carry this with me because I use it all the time. So a lot of times it's a pain to use, but you have it with you. But what we're going to do is we're going to clean out the bar. Now, I call this "you might be a jerk." Ew, it's black. I'm a jerk. That should be gold. If it's gold, you're good. Okay, when you go ahead and clean that out, you'll feel, especially on the aftermarket bars, you'll feel it dropping into these notches. Make sure you get all that out of there in the little oiler holes. See, still chainsaws use these little tiny holes that are on there, where a lot of Echoes and other saws, they use this here guide hole right here, and the oil is forced into that cavity and then comes up through that big hole. It's forced into the bottom side of the chain. So if it's not getting up there and it's hitting sawdust as soon as it hits your bar, it's not oiling your chain. That's the chief cause of my saw is not oiling. You can, if your saw is not oiling at this point, you can fire up the saw and make sure you have oil coming out of this oil port right here. Future. Now, next thing you do, now all that's clean, let's go for the air cleaner. This ought to be funny. Not bad. I'm ready to blow that out, right? Now, choke your saw. That shuts off your carburetor. Now, anything does get down in there, I'm only going as far as that plate. All right? Get rid of all the bulk sawdust. And then gently take this out. Blow from the inside out. And you can give it the old lift it up a little bit. Good and clean. Blow off the cap. Here's a cool one. Ready? Finger over the choke hole. Okay. Saw it back together. Clean, right? Now, that's why your mom always made you sweep the front porch. If you don't sweep the front porch, you'll never keep your kitchen clean. Alright, you're going to take it apart, fast and easy. 1, 2. Ah, I lost my tip. There it is. There's usually only 4 screws. Sometimes they mess with you and make one Phillips. It's usually the one in the top corner there. Okay, so we're going to pull that cover off there. The first thing we do is find the 4 screws. Look, they're even laying in the pattern they come out in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Set them aside. Make sure you don't blow them off the table with the air hose. Now, look at all this stuff in here. If you don't have air, I've done it with a paintbrush before. Sorry about that, that's my generator kicking. Air compressor. Make sure. And now look in here. Look at this stuff coming out of here. Saw's clean, right? Nope. I blew up a 400 one time doing this. Because I didn't. Which one is that? Is that the Phillips? Yes, sir, it is. Just clamps up over here. Now, that saw's been blown out. Look at this. That's just going to hold heat. Now, saw's finally clean. Not crazy. Alright, this went down over here. Should have laid them up there too. Don't want to lose your nuts. Now, proper chain tension. At this point, this is why you might as well set that. Okay, so I snugged up my bar. I'm going to take it 1 turn back, 1 turn back. Get my bar down there. I'm going to pull as much slack as I can get in that chain. Bounce up and down a couple times. My teeth are sticking out. So I'm going to bring that up just until they barely get inside that groove. Now a lot of times when you snug this up, she'll tighten up another little bit. Yeah, laying real nice. Now, had this been a roller tip, You would take that until it is just barely touching on the bottom side. A lot of people set it with a little bit of tension on it. I don't like that. We use our tip of the bar a lot. So if you're setting it there and you pull that tension, you'll split the tip of your bar. I got probably a few out there to look like that. But thank you very much. One clean saw.